You can see I'm all about smiling as we start the show today because I talk about a lot of different things about me. One of the things you know is I am a diehard Eagles fan. I'm a 4-for-4 Philadelphian. So when you get an Eagles legend like Vince Papale
I don't know about that.
to come into the studio, it is a highlight for me. How are you, sir?
Yeah, the man, the myth, and not quite the legend. But I appreciate that, Bill. That's so funny when people say that. You know, when I meet other NFL players, they'll come up and, man, you're the legend. I say, oh, man. But that's pretty cool.
So you still, I mean, people have been saying that for years.
Yeah, a
it's still surprising.
Well, yeah, it is. You know, I'm just a kid from Glen Olden that happened to have this movie made about him, and then all of a sudden, it's just, you know, I just came out from underneath the rocks. You know, I was just hanging out there in Philly, you know, living in Philly, and it was all good.
I think there's all of this love, support, you know, you're the legend, because I think deep down inside, you were all of us.
Yeah.
Like, you are that person. We're all like, man, if I could only get a chance, you know, and we would have failed miserably.
Well, I don't know about that. You know, everybody gets that shot. When I got out there on that field, I played for the state. I played for the fans. I played for the guys like me that suffered through those years when those teams were horrible. Mm-hmm. But I was still that loyal Eagle fan, and there wasn't anybody in the city that could come outside the city and come outside the city into our city and criticize my Philadelphia Eagles. And for me, it's all about Philadelphia. So I put those pads and the helmet on for them. And then I got the greatest opportunity of a lifetime, and it was from Dick Vermeil. And he has this great saying, and I use it when I get out and speak a lot, and it's an opportunity is worth to a person exactly what the preparation enables them to make it. You know, it's all in the prep, you know, it's getting that game plan together and doing all that. And, you know, no matter what I do, you know, I game plan for any event. So, you know, and I think a lot of it is because of the impression that Dick Vermeil left on me.
So backpedaling, you are professional football player, but you didn't play in college. Like, you didn't have that traditional path.
Yeah.
So that part's true.
I was a Hawk from St. Joe's, and I was competing in track and field.
So you were an athlete. You were a very good track star, and you played in high school. You lettered in multiple sports.
Yeah, 4 sports. Yeah.
Okay. So the whole you're just a rec league football player was probably a little overstated. You were a high caliber athlete.
You know, it isn't biography, and they'll take liberties, but you know, they got to make it play, and you know, they treated it very well the way I looked at it.
And I think they did a great job.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the movie.
Yeah, who am I to criticize and doubt Walt Disney's pictures, Buena Vista Pictures? It was phenomenal.
So you were playing like rough touch football, and you were a season ticket holder. So you were in the stands like us.
Yeah, I was a season ticket holder. Actually, from my junior year in college at St. Joe's, I had season tickets with those guys in the movie.
So it was just an open tryout.
Yeah, it was an open tryout.
Tell us how this happened.
Well, it was pretty cool. Actually, I just come off. What they didn't mention, I think what they wanted to do, Bill, is to make sure that they created a little bit more drama. You know, they had me as a part-time bartender and a substitute teacher. In reality, I had been teaching at Interboro for 6 years. I was the head track coach, assistant football coach. And I was working my master's degree at Westchester in counseling. And then and at the same time, I was trying to qualify for the Olympic trials in the decathlon and playing in the rough touch leagues. You know, so all this is happening, going through a divorce. You know, it was pretty complicated then. And at any rate, you know, Coach Vermeil came in and had that tryout. So what I did is I took a leave of absence from Interboro High School, and I tried out. I tried out for the team. I wound up making it after five or six tryouts, and I went. And actually, I started. And so I went on a leave of absence from teaching at Interboro. Then the league folded the second year, and I tried to go back and get my job. And they said, we don't have anything for you, but next year, be ready to go. You know, we've got a teaching job, and, you know, you'll get your coaching and everything back.
Like, nah, I'll just go to the NFL.
So that's when the bartending and the substitute teaching came in. So now I'm in pretty good shape. You know, and I still never stopped training because there was always that track thing in my mind, which I didn't quite make. And Dick Vermeil comes in with that tryout, and the guys were breaking me pretty hard. And I figured, well, I got nothing to lose, but I didn't brag about it. But I went to my high school coach, who was my mentor, Coach Corner, who was my high school coach in track and football. I said, the guys, that everybody's breaking me pretty hard. It's too risky. You don't have the right skills. You're a season ticket holder. You didn't play college football. And he gave me this great quote and said, happy are those who dream dreams and are willing to pay the price to make their dreams come true. So my dream was to be a Philadelphia Eagle. My idol was Tommy McDonald.
Yeah.
Was I willing to pay the price? Well, I felt, I'm 29. I've already paid the price. And what do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose.
Coming up next, how Eagles coach Dick Vermeil inspired Vince Papale to step up or get cut.
He said, I'll give you a couple of 3 weeks. He said, get your act together. Started hitting everybody that had a different color jersey on. And then it was that first preseason game.
Your life is a movie, and it's a movie we've all seen. But if it wasn't, you're telling these stories, and I would sit back and go, wow, your life should be a movie. Like, this is, so you just kept going. When you go out for that trial and you're getting inspiration and people are ribbing you, but you've got a handful of people who have your back and supporting you. Did you believe you could make the team?
I did. When I signed that $21,000 contract, after the tryout, I was told to go up to the general manager's office, and I walked past Dick Vermeil's office, and that was a great workout, Vinny. He says, you look good out there today. Like, Coach Vermeil knew my name. I had 3 months to train. At Veterans Stadium. So I was able to use, so that's where the part-time bartending and the substitute teaching came in. I could go and train on demand. And I started training at 9 o'clock every day. I'll be the first guy in that door.
You're 29,
I'm
30 years old.
Yeah.
At this time.
Right.
Believing that you're going to go walk in there and be a member of the Eagles. You're a 30-year-old rookie who gets a tryout, goes and does all of this training. And your response is, well, why not? Do you know how many people would be like, dude, I got no shot? But you always believed in it.
Yeah, I always believed in it. Well, because a few people out there believed in me. I went in with one thought in mind, that I was going to be their fifth wide receiver because they lost Bobby Picard in the expansion draft, and I was going to be that fifth wide receiving special teams guy. I'm going to be that special teams guy. And when I got into camp, that first week was against all rookies and free agents. And I was lighting it up. Roman's throwing the ball to me all the time. You know what happened, Bill? The next week, the veterans come in. These are the guys that I sat in the stands and cheered for. Yeah. And I'm saying, I can't believe I'm on the same field with Bill Berge, Harold Carmichael. I'm in the locker room, and Harold, I'm in the huddle with this guy, and and I see some of the greatest athletes I ever cheered for that are out in their field, and I sort of backed off.
Okay.
And then Coach Vermeil, Coach Vermeil says, you're not the same person as you were last week. You were hitting everything that had a different colored jersey on, and sometimes the same colored jersey. He said, you just loved contact. And I said, Coach, I'm sort of, these are my heroes. He said, they're your heroes. What are you, crazy? These guys are your heroes. And he said, I'll tell you what, Vin. He says, you have a shot to make this team. And he told me then, he says, you had a shot to make this team. I got my eyes on you. He said, but, he said, I want to see what I saw last week. He said, I'll give you a couple of 3 weeks. He said, get your act together.
Wow.
Well, that's all I needed. And
you got a shot to make this team.
Make this team. So I go back to, I started hitting everybody that had a different color jersey on. And then it was that first preseason game. And that was the one. That was the game. I'm getting goosebumps telling this story. Can I tell you this? It's so cool.
Tell me the story, yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I'm there, and I'm in San Diego. And I'm with I'm with the same guys now that are my heroes, and I'm dressed in Eagles green. I got number 83 on, and they played the national anthem, and I cried like a baby. I was crying like a baby. I said, I cannot believe I'm in this. So the coach says, you're going to go in the second half. Well, guess what? The 2-minute warning. Papale, you're in. First down. I have 2 catches, 2 first downs, 2 side adjustments, and the whole game, the receivers were blowing it, except for Carmichael, because he was, and Charlie Smith. Everybody else out there couldn't read the defenses. That got me another week.
Obviously, your life changed after playing.
Right.
And people, some people, a lot of diehard fans knew the story.
Right.
When the movie comes out, the world knows the story.
Yes.
And then it becomes like that whole hero thing that you're talking about.
I've spoken all over the world, by the way. It's pretty wild.
How much did your life change after that movie came out and now everybody knows Invincible?
Exponentially, especially here in Philadelphia. In terms of the kinds of coverage, there was not the internet, there was not social media, those kinds of things. And now it's just exploded. And, I can't go anywhere. I don't buy too many beers, as I say, in Philadelphia. but worldwide, and I'll get recognized in airports and things of that sort, and it's crazy. But the thing is that it's just given me a feel and reassuredness that I can do just about anything if I put my mind down to it. I feel that I've really made an impact on a lot of people's lives if they know the story. There might be somebody that's in there that's struggling because one of their loved ones is dealing with mental illness. Well, guess what? I went through it. I saw my mother go out of the house in a straitjacket. I saw her at Haverford State Mental Hospital. I had to visit her there and deal with that. And I also knew how important it was for mentors to be a part of my life. And I swore that I would be somebody else's George Corner. I knew how important it was for Dick Vermeil to come in my life, to give me the opportunity of a lifetime to have this crazy wild dream come true. So now I try to be that same person.
You're built different. You're just next level. And now you've kind of
I don't see myself that way, and I just
but I think
dad.
that's why you are. You're a motivational speaker,
right?
And kind of travel around and share what message and why.
Well, I just share the message. I talk about Invincible as a dream, but it's not that's not my dream. It's all about your dream, and whether you're willing to pay the price. I use that quote: whether you're willing to pay the price. And I always say, it's making the impossible possible, the doable, the undoable doable, and and the unbreakable breakable. You got to break through those barriers, whatever it is. And this is how you do it. And everybody in their life has that dream that they want. But I was at a church sermon the other day, and the pastor said, if you have that vision or dream, and you don't have the game plan to succeed in it, it's just a fantasy.
Coming up, when you live your dreams, you want better for all of us.
We could all write our books. Maybe we should start doing that. Maybe we should be nicer to people. Maybe we should listen to everybody instead of criticizing for what they say.
We're a podcast, and we are a father-daughter team, and we are the baby boomer and the millennial.
We're going to just have fun with it and not be too serious, because right now the world needs a laugh, and we hope we're going to put a smile on your face and maybe give you another and a great perspective or a different perspective on how you look at things, people, events, personalities, whatever it is. I have a podcast with my daughter, Gabriella. It's called Gabbing with Invincible. That's now hitting the airwaves, gabbingwithinvincible.com. My wife is a realtor. She's been for 40 years. She coached at the University of Penn in gymnastics, not a Giants fan.
Right.
And
she was a world-class athlete.
World-class, world-class. We're now together, so we're a team. We don't look at ourselves we are really a team, and we have the Papale group, and Gabriella and Vinny and my wife doing real estate in Florida, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, and we're all working together for the same purpose. And I'm their ambassador.
You're all of our ambassador. Your son's currently playing professional football.
Yes, he's a USFL with the Memphis Showboats. And he's a slot receiver, and they're telling him that he worked out with some NFL guys this past off season, and they say you're destined. So we'll see. Hopefully he's just turned 26, but he's ready. Okay. And our daughter Gabriella was working with the 76ers. If you went to a Sixers game and you saw all the entertainment on the court other than the game, she was the one that coordinated it.
I mean, of course, there is this book. Now, you've done a lot of this kind of stuff. So this is the latest book?
This is the latest. The first book was the real story, REAL story, that Disney allowed me to write, which was really cool. So I was able to fill in some of the blanks I told you now with the U.S. World Football League and some of those other stories that weren't in the movie. And then Janet and I wrote a book called Be Invincible, a playbook for reaching your full potential. And then The Last Laugh, it's with my teammate, bless you, Dennis. I love you. And I lost Dennis a year and a half ago. And Dennis and I wrote that book. He was too small to be in the NFL, and I was too old. And there's this great picture that's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame of us hugging each other after a big play. I made the hit against the Redskins. He recovered the fumble. And we're in the sideline just yucking it up, and it won an award, and it wound up in the Hall of Fame.
So Brian Westbrook came in, and it's interesting because a lot of this, the motivation you're talking about, Brian Westbrook told all of us sitting there that his entire career, he just wrote a book, a children's book for inspiration. And he said his entire career, you're too small. You can't do it. You know, he hurt himself, and now you're not getting the NFL tryouts, and you're not going to get drafted to much. All of that, and it was the same mindset. Like, I'm not going to let somebody else define who I can be.
That's you. Look at me, look at you. I mean, you could tell your story. Ivana could tell hers. Everybody, all your producers, everybody that's on air here has their great story. It's nothing new. We could all write our books. Maybe we should start doing that. Maybe we should be nicer to people. Maybe we should listen to everybody instead of criticizing for what they say.
The salary stuff that I thought was interesting. You made $21,000 your first year with the Eagles.
Yeah.
You played for a few years, but your high salary was $42,000?
Something like that, yeah.
What do you think now when you see the guys?
Well,
like, we're about to play, and I love him, my guy, come on the show, but Jalen Hurts is about to get $50 million.
That's pretty crazy to think that somebody's going to pay to get that kind of money to play just football. You know, we just lost one of our defensive backs is going to get $8 million for 1 year.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Really? I mean, okay. I always say, I said, you know what? There's going to be a tryout for those over 70 or something. I'm going to go and I'm going to have that one hit, you know, and that's it. And when I'm getting carried off the field, I'm going to wiggle my toes and everybody get the thumbs up, you know, and collect that $1 million and go. Hey, you know what? I know the risks. I know what has to go through. That's just the way the market is. That's the way it is, and you just roll with it. I don't look at it in terms of money. I look at it in terms of effort, and I look at it in terms of performance.
You know how many people say, I would do that for free?
I did. I said that.
But that's why I
played semi-pro football
again,
for a beer and a pair of Riddell shoes.
The whole concept again of that hero we needed, and you said you still don't embrace yourself as that hero, but there's so many people who are like, man, I would do that for free. And I mean, you didn't do it for free, but you were willing to go out there and give and sacrifice everything. And there wasn't an $8 million paycheck waiting. You just loved playing football.
Yeah. Well, and I loved my Philadelphia Eagles. And could you imagine? I mean, you know, look at the odds of that happening. 10-year season ticket holder down on the stands, becoming captain of the team.
Yeah.
For crying out loud. You know, getting 4 years. I mean, you know what the ultimate last laugh is? I get an NFL pension.
You earned that. Do they have you doing stuff with the NFL? Do you speak in things on their behalf?
I do stuff, you know, whatever it is. You know, a lot of it's just word of mouth now. And, you know, I keep saying retirement. I keep messing with Janet. Says, I'm not allowing you to retire. I have the most perfect idyllic life I could ever imagine. And I say that all the time. You know, where just the Philly thing, the Florida thing, the kids, my marriage. You know, celebrating 30 in a few months. I mean, is it any better than this? You know, it's just great. And then to come back to Philadelphia and to sit here and, you know, where I was at an event last night and people coming up, it was really cool.
Coming up, a final encouraging word from the legend, Vince Papale.
Everybody has their strengths and they have their weaknesses, but you know what? We are human, and I think we should just all love each other. That's the way I look at it.
We always end our show with the concept of use your voice for good. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do a show that allowed people the opportunity to do that. There's enough of the negative stuff going on out there. What does use your voice for good mean for you?
Well, for me, it's just about people and people coming together and just understanding that everybody has their strengths and they have their weaknesses, but you know what? We are human. And I think we should just all love each other. That's the way I look at it. And I would just say that just a lot more kindness and understanding. And I think this would be a beautiful place. It's still a beautiful place, man. Mm-hmm. And I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and I think it's because of having a positive attitude and embracing everybody. Sometimes they're going to take advantage of you, but hey, listen, you know, I'll take that shot. I'm used to taking risks.
Only one other person I have done this with. I was online trying to get a jersey sent here immediately because I wanted you to sign it. Our producer, Ivana, asked you about your jersey, and you showed up with the jersey today.
Yeah, but thank God I had one in Philly.
I appreciate it. People, you can get these actually. A lot, the book, some of the pictures, the jersey. You've got a website.
Yeah, VincePapale.com.
And if you want to connect with him, he comes around and speaks. But will you sign this for me?
I'd be glad to sign and be honored.
I'm like a kid sitting here smiling.
I have a tendency to misspell Invincible.
Every now and then, I have to admit it, some of the shows are just about me being a fan. And spending some time with Vince Papale, hearing his whole Philadelphia story, how he's overcoming obstacles, he never quit. I love that. He's truly invincible, and I hope you enjoyed hearing his story as well. Remember that you can hear the whole podcast, and I will tell you there is a lot to hear in this week's podcast. So go subscribe any place where you get your podcasts, and you can listen to the entire thing. Also, check out YouTube. There's a lot of episodes there that you may not have seen that I believe that you will enjoy. I leave you as I always do, reminding you whenever you can, use your voice for good and have a good one.